Now, I told you motherfuckers that I'm not going to make many videos here unless there's actual news. I know you guys are crying about it, but you guys never view normal crime stories. So, there is news. Bryan Kohberger's change of venue has been granted. Bye-bye, Moscow. I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Let's do it.
Bring it back.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm thejbgunner, and this is Crime Time. Now, before we get started with this story, let me first and foremost say thank you to everybody that supports the channel. Hell, any of my channels, regardless of platform, regardless of method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, guys, I couldn't do this each and every day as often as I do for the last 18 years if it wasn't for you, the Gun Squad. Big shout out to you. Love you guys so much. And if you too find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Show your boy some love. Join the Gun Squad. You can also find the links to all my other channels, and I do work there every day, including my live stream channel. Go check it out, man. Join us in some other... Get away from some of this true crime shit every now and then, right? Look, I know there's a few stories that a lot of other people doing. People still jacking off with the Sebastian Rogers case. People still doing all that fuckery. A lot of fat wives sitting around still with the Cheetos on the fingers and the Twinkies and the ho-hos oozing out of the pores. I know that. That's why I stay away. However, there is news, and I do want to present it to you. This is breaking news, and it was leaked a couple of days ago, but it wasn't official. Now we know it's official. This goes back to the IDAHO 4 case. And guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is good news, but the Bryan Kohberger trial, the change of venue has been granted by John Judge. And I think that's an amazing thing. Now, I do want to tell you guys, some of my opinions on Bryan Kohberger's changed. I still think they don't have enough evidence to find him guilty. I still think he's innocent until proven guilty. But I'm not going to lie to you. My opinion on whether he's done it or not, I'm an Occam's razor guy, has kind of changed. And we'll talk about this in a separate video. In fact, I'll make a video tomorrow for you guys. But let's go ahead and just get right into the news when it comes to this, okay? Judge grants Bryan Kohberger's request for trial change of venue in yet another blow to the IDAHO murder victims. So what's the blow exactly? I don't understand what the blow is. It wasn't that long ago that during the survey, people in Idaho were saying that Bryan Kohberger would be lynched if he was acquitted. To me, if there's ever a reason to have a change of venue, this is exactly the reason why you would do that. But anyway, the judge in the Bryan Kohberger Idaho murders trial has agreed to move the proceedings in yet another blow to the families. They say, man, that's some bullshit. By the way, fuck the families. I'm just going to say this now. Fuck the families. The entire point of a legal process is for justice to be served, as they say. It's not to pander to the families. It's not to pander to you people out here's emotions. Because you want to see Bryan Kohberger get fried. It's not to pander to none of you motherfuckers, including the families. This is between the state and Bryan Kohberger. Let me say this again, because I have a feeling a lot of you motherfuckers don't comprehend. This is nobody's business but the state and Bryan Kohberger's. Now, I get it. You may be related to the victims or whatever and have a stake in it, but you shouldn't have a say-so in it. This is a fight, a battle between the prosecution and defense. Nowhere in the prosecution or defense is, well, the families or the retarded public that's out here, you know what I'm saying, wanting to know what the fuck's going on with the case. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, decisions need to be made that's both right for the prosecution and right for the defense. You cannot take that's the entire reason the change of venue is happening. You can't take into consideration the public's opinion or the family's opinion or the dog's opinion. You have to call this, especially if you're the state, you have to call this right down the middle. And at the end of the day, the question is the jury pool tainted? In this small town, what's the likelihood of Bryan Kohberger getting a fair trial? It's definitely horrible, but I don't think he'll get a fair trial anyway. So I don't think this is going to make that big of a difference. But this isn't a blow to the families. You would think that someone that's dealing with lost loved ones would want the truth to come out. Now, I get it. They probably already think Bryan Kohberger did it. And listen, I understand. The DNA thing is a very, 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 very hard thing to overlook. The DNA thing has even caused me to second guess whether Bryan Kohberger is innocent or guilty since the last time you guys have talked to me. I still believe legally he needs to be proven guilty. But I have to admit personally, how did his fucking DNA get under the dead body? Occam's razor says the most likely answer is probably the answer. How would this man's DNA on a knife sheath, considering it was a knife used, how was it found under the dead body? Common sense says, but common sense has nothing to do with legal precedent. Common sense has nothing to do with facts in the case. And you can't send a man to the death penalty unless there's facts 100%, essentially, without a shadow of a doubt, declaring him to be the killer. And I just don't think they've reached the legal obligation, the legal requirement of proving that he's the killer. It gives you cause to pause. Even someone like me who's defended Bryan Kohberger since the beginning. Even I'm like, now that I think about it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not prepared to come out and make the statement that I believe he's guilty, because that's not really what's at question here. What's at question here is the court case, is how this thing goes. And do they have enough evidence to legally and fairly convict this man and give him the death penalty? I don't believe so, personally. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. Anyways, it says the Kohberger had asked for a change of venue, citing the impossibility of an impartial jury in the county where the murders happened, and I agree with that completely. His lawyer said he'd be lynched if he ended up being acquitted in Latah County, and that's true as well. Judge John Judge has granted his request, and it will now be up to the state Supreme Court to determine where the trial, scheduled for June of 2025, which I'll be covering on this channel in full, will take place. The decision is the latest setback in a long, drawn-out proceedings. The victims were brutally killed, and as we all know, in November of 2022. So it is very, Steve Gonsalves says, I have total faith in the people of this community. They're not biased. They're going to figure it out. Well, that's not the way it's going to work, because the case is leaving Moscow.
On a high-profile national case that's gotten a lot of attention, a judge has just approved Bryan Kohberger's request to change the venue for his trial. He is the suspect and the primary suspect accused of murdering 4 college students
Kohberger's getting a win
in
here.
Their home off of campus in Moscow, Idaho. 4 University of Idaho students. The court has not yet specified where the case will take place and where the change of venue will be. But his defense had argued that he could not get a fair trial in Moscow, Idaho,
which
where the
is true.
murders took place, in Latah County, and they had asked for it to be moved as far away as Boise. But again, we will wait and find out exactly where that trial will take place once it begins next year. Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation
I
now.
personally don't think he's going to get a fair trial no matter where he goes. But anyway, there has been an order granting the change of venue. Let's take a look at it real quick. I'm sure it's not, it actually is 20 pages. It says on January 30th, 2024, Kohberger filed a motion for change of venue pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 21, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a lot of legal jargon, so let's just keep, oh shit, I'm going to fuck my shit up. Let's just keep going. Let's keep going. The hearing on Kohberger's motion was originally scheduled for June 27, 2024. Thereafter, the parties stipulated to continuing the hearing August 29, 2024. Therefore, on July 22, 2024, Kohberger filed a memorandum in support of the motion of change of venue with various exhibits attached. The state filed an additional objection on August 12th, and Kohberger filed a reply on August 19th with more additional exhibits. A change of venue hearing was held on August 29, 2024. That's my birthday. Kohberger was present and represented by Ann Taylor, we all know. The state was represented by Bill Thompson, we already know. At the hearing, defendant presented expert testimony from James Todd Murphy and a couple other people. The state did not call any witnesses themselves. The court has spent many months carefully considering the legal and logistical concerns with a trial of this length and magnitude, carefully reading each submission, listening to each expert, and evaluating each party's position. Based on the totality of factors, defendant's motion for change of venue is granted. Now, it does go into the background. We know about all this. We know about all that happened here. It goes on to say, because of the excessive media coverage from the outset of the homicides, a non-dissemination order was quickly put into place by stipulation of the parties on January 23rd, 2023, to help protect Kohberger's right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. The non-dissemination order, as amended, has remained in place throughout the duration of the case. In an additional effort to help protect Kohberger's right to a fair trial, on November 17th of 2023, the court entered an order removing cameras from the courtroom. Since that time, the proceedings have been streamed via the court's YouTube channel, which in theory allows the public access to proceedings while minimizing prejudicial photographs and videos focusing solely on Kohberger's every move. Despite efforts by the parties in the court to protect the jury pool from being inundated with information that is potentially prejudicial and false, extensive media coverage by mainstream media sources such as newspapers, radio stations, and television news outlets has continued throughout the state and nationally. Additionally, and perhaps more challenging, is the ongoing spread of prejudicial information, misinformation, rumors, and patently false theories on the case on social media outlets such as Facebook, podcasts, and blogs. We've seen that shit for years now, right? There have also been numerous television shows and documentaries produced about the homicides, which we've all watched all of them. And at least one book has already been published. I told you that was going to come back to haunt them. Told you that book was going to come back to haunt them. The parties agree the case has generated extensive coverage by the media, internet sleuths, and others trying to capitalize on the tragedy. Ain't that a bitch? But disagree on, so you see how they did that? You're trying to capitalize on the tragedy. You're not trying to report on the tragedy. You're trying to capitalize on the tragedy. Ain't this a motherfucker? Son of a bitch. But disagree on how the court should attempt to remedy the issue to ensure Kohberger is tried by a fair, impartial jury. In sum, Kohberger argues the venue must be changed from Latah County to a location with a larger population that is geographically distant from where the homicides occurred. The state asserts that a larger juror pool, extensive juror questionnaires, and voir dire, I don't know what the fuck that means, are sufficient remedies that will result in a fair and impartial jury in Latah County. In addition to the issue of juror prejudice resulting from extensive coverage of the homicides and Kohberger by the media and others of the smaller population, the defense also asserts the trial should be moved outside of Latah County, which we already know. So there is some evidence. James Todd Murphy, there's testimony of all these different people. There was all this different shit, and a lot of you guys saw the trial or saw the court hearings in regards to the change of venue. A lot of arguments for Kohberger, and somehow this must have convinced him because, you know, the prosecution didn't present any witnesses at all. And I think this is a solid decision. You know, this is a long document, and they've been releasing a lot of documents, but this has been granted. And guys, you don't believe me? Look right here. Look right here. And some of these are fucking 100 pages. Just in the last 2 days, or a few days. Look at all these. And all of these were pretty much released right here. Motion to strike, continue to seek death penalty. All of these. And there's so many pages to this. And guys, I don't know if you know this. They're trying to get the death penalty removed too.
Lawyers for Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students, is making a new appeal this morning in an attempt to take the death penalty off the table.
They're going to keep going.
A little more. We'll bring in Laura
Ann Taylor's a motherfucker. She's good at her job. No question.
Right, so what are some of the arguments they're putting on the table?
Yeah, this is really a blitz of multiple defense motions, throwing everything they can at this. It was a court-imposed deadline. That's why it's coming now. It's everything from routine things, saying they simply don't have enough time to prepare for trial, to really things maybe more of a creative stretch, saying it violates international treaties to give him the death penalty.
These motherfuckers said it violates international treaties. Ann Taylor's throwing everything. She's like, but just something's got to stick. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you. We'll get back to this in a second. This is kind of why I'm changing my position, man. Look, man. I don't think they have enough to convict Bryan Kohberger. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Bryan Kohberger has enough to prove his innocence to me either. And I get it. He doesn't have to prove his innocence. I get that 100%. That's why I would not convict Bryan Kohberger. I'm going to tell you something that I haven't told you in all these years doing this, because I never felt this way. My position on him being convicted stands. He should not be convicted based on what we have. But guys, I know a lot of you are amazed by the defense. I'm not. The defense hasn't convinced me whatsoever that Bryan Kohberger didn't do it. What I mean is I'm not, when it comes to the alibi, I was like, well, he likes to go outside to that state park and stargaze, but they didn't say he did it that night. Look, man, that DNA being there bothers me. Not the phone pings, not any of that. The DNA being there on a knife sheath under the dead body. By the way, it's touch DNA. I don't think it's enough evidence. But I'm an Occam's razor logic guy. All of you guys are like, the police are setting them up, blah, 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 blah. Man, you ain't showing no proof either. Dave Bautista in the tunnels, they're all going under you guys ain't showing no goddamn proof. Not that you got to. He more than likely did it. But I don't think there's enough evidence to convict him. Now that I'm really thinking about it, there would be a lot of coincidences that would allow that knife sheath with his DNA to be there. And remember, the police figured it out. The police figured it out. The feds figured it out. I just don't think they have enough evidence, though. I'm starting to, and listen, the defense is just not doing a good job at all in terms of making me feel like he didn't do it. Like he was framed. Like he was doing something else at the time. Well, he might have been stargazing since he does it sometimes. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. However, prosecution still has not proven he needs to die by the death penalty and that he murdered those 4 kids. It's likely he's the one that did it. So I'm not prepared to say I think he did it either, but it's likely. Bryan Kohberger likely killed those kids. Whether he was alone or not, I don't know. Probably, since nobody else is talking. I just don't think they have enough evidence. So I do like the idea of changing venues. And I don't know. They're going for the death penalty to be off the table.
It's an aggressive move, but it's a death penalty case, and so his public defender is taking it seriously.
She's got to try.
He did not hammer is just how rare it is to actually get capital punishment in that state. I went back and looked. It's only been used 3 times. The last was 2012. And so if they do it in this case, it would be something that's rare. And she did not mention that, at least not yet. And of course, we should mention, even if he's not eligible for the death penalty, it's not as if he walks free. He would just be eligible for life in prison. And it'll be up to the judge whether that happens.
Life without the opportunity of parole.
Yes.
So it's the judge who will determine these issues about the death penalty. The judge also has this venue decision, whether or not he should move the trial out of Moscow, perhaps to Boise, somewhere else in Idaho. Yeah. And he's openly...
Look, they move the trial. Now, will they remove the death penalty from Bryan Kohberger? I don't think so. Idaho is a conservative state. And let me be honest with you. If Bryan Kohberger killed, or anybody, whoever, killed those kids, no, they should be put to death. They should be put to death. If you could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. In this particular case, I don't think they've proven it beyond a reasonable doubt. So, I don't think they got smoking gun evidence. So it would be, look, it would be hard to put him to death because I don't know if there's anything you can do at trial that would make me say, yeah, that's it. Put him to death. You proved it to me. I don't think you can do that. You're going to have a lot more evidence that we haven't seen yet. And as I've told you guys for years now, that's not the way it works. I told you guys years ago that usually the evidence that's in the affidavit is about 90% of what they have. And it's proven to be true. I told you the evidence presented in the affidavit would be 90%. And it's proven to be true so far. Nothing else has came out. Gag order, I understand. I get it. I don't personally think any more is going to come out, which means I don't think he should be convicted, which means I don't think he should be put to death. I think Kohberger is going to get away with this one. I think he's going to get away with this one. And if what they say about Kohberger is true, this may not be the last time we ever see him in this situation. Because, let me tell you, if he was doing it to see if he can get away with it, oh, he'll do it again because he got away with it. Do I think Bryan Kohberger should get away with it? Yes. Because you haven't proved that he did it. And I believe in the legal system. And even though I think it's possible or likely Bryan Kohberger did it, that's not good enough of a reason. I still say not guilty. Not internally, but legally. Not guilty. Internally, I'm like, I don't know, kind of, you know what I mean? But you can't convict him. You can't put him to death. And now he's won the right to a change of venue. That's big. And if they take this death penalty off the table, which that decision could come any time, that's big. The defense dropped a bomb, just a barrage, like I said, like they said, of just motions. The defense is up to something. They're up to something, and they just got a big win today. That's true. Guys, let me know what you think. Has your mind changed at all on the guilt of Bryan Kohberger? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's likely? Why or why not? I get it. You think that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came up out of the sewer and did it. I get it. But here's what I want to ask you. How did the knife with his DNA get there? It's touched DNA and it could have been an entirely different situation. But I'm asking you to, I understand what could be and what couldn't be. I'm asking you to tell me, because I know most of my audience is not guilters. And I'm still with you. At the trial, not guilty. How did the knife sheath with his DNA get under the dead body? What's your theory? I really genuinely want to hear it. And is it enough? I still don't think so. I mean, society and the public may convict him and may put him to death. I still wouldn't. But it's good to see Bryan Kohberger got a change of venue. Told you guys I'd come back when there's news. I will come back when there's more news. If you guys want to see regular crime stories on this channel, I can do it. Just let me know in the comment section or contact me. If you want to support channel, links are down below. Feel free to hit me on any one of those Join the Gun Squad. Let me know you want me to, do other videos over here, regular videos. I'm here for you if you guys want. If you guys miss me, I missed y'all too, man. Anyways, I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all have a good one. I'm out.